Hello and welcome to the part 3 of creating a basic HTML document structure. Before we carry on from where we left off in part 2, I just want to show you something. If you notice here, we've got some indentation inside the text editor. Indentation is very important. It makes your code more organized and neater, and makes it easier for someone to read your code and also for you to read your code. So looking at the code here from the indentation, you can tell that the head and the body elements are child elements to the HTML element. So any content I add inside the head element will become child elements of the head, and then grandkids of the HTML. Any elements I add inside the body element will become child or children element of the body element, and there will be grandchildren for the HTML element. So you can tell the way the elements are related from the indentation. So indentation is very important. So I'm going to add a couple of elements to the head section. So I come to the head, between the head element, I just do a tab, and you notice as I do a tab, it automatically indents the place where the cursor is flashing. So again, to create a new tag, I do a less than sign. I type in the name of the tag. It's going to be a meta space car set. Okay, and then the value, this meta car set is an attribute, and the value, I'm going to set this value to UTF-8, and then I close it with a greater than sign. The meta car set basically is used to set the character set for the document, so that any text you enter will be recognized by anybody who's viewing this all over the world. So it makes it easier to interpret the characters in the document. When you set attributes, you always have to use the equals to give the value, and the values are enclosed in quotes, as you can see here. So I'm going to add another element. This time it's going to be a title element. So again, left angle bracket or less than sign. I'm going to type in title, and then a greater than sign. You notice automatically it does that for us. Not all text editors do that. Some you have to manually do it yourself, but brackets automatically places the other tags for you, so it saves a bit of typing. So in between the tag, I'll type in my title. I'm just going to say my sample web page. I'm going to leave it like that. If you notice the indentation, you can tell that these two elements are child elements of the head element. So I'm just going to remove some spacing. So that's it for the head element. That's all I'm doing for there at the moment. Next, so any content inside the head element is not visible. The only thing that is visible is this title here, that will show up on the title of the web browser when the page is viewed. But everything else is just informational purposes, or used to reference other related documents. So now let's add some elements inside the body element, and anything between the body element is the actual content that is visible on the web page. So I'm going to add a H1 element. So again, I do a less than sign, type in H1, and then close that, and I'm going to just say hello hello world. Okay, the H1 is basically used as a heading. So if you want to add some kind of heading to your web page, you use the H1 tags, and there are 6 of them, H1 to H6, H1 being the largest heading and then H6 being the lowest heading. Another thing I want to do is add a paragraph tag. So the way you add paragraphs to a web page is by using the P tag. So again, I do a less than sign, type in P, and then a greater than sign, and in between the opening and closing P element, you just type in your whatever text you want. So I'm just going to say today is a new day. So that's all I'm typing in for now. So you can use as many paragraph tags as you want to insert paragraphs anywhere within your document. Alright, I want to also add an image to my page here. And the way to add the image, you use the img tag. So you do a less than sign, you type in img. Img stands for image. You do a space. You need to add an attribute, and the attribute I'm going to add is called a source attribute. This is important because I'm using this to reference where the image is coming from. The image is located inside this images folder here. If I expand that, so this is the image I'm targeting, so I need to reference the source. So you use equals to sign, and then you use quotes. In between the quotes, you specify the location of the image. So it's located inside my images folder, and the name of the image is called poppy.jpg. All right, you see that's this one here. It's a JPEG file, and I'm going to add another attribute called the alt. This is an alternate text, and basically what this means, I'm going to give it a value first. I'll use the equals to give it a value, and I'll just say you can type in whatever text you want, and just type in poppy image, and then I'll do a greater than sign to close the image tag. So with the image tags, they don't have a specific closing tag like the other tags. So they have what you call a self-closing. You only have just the opening, you don't have a closing when you're using an image tag. So what this alt attribute will do, if for some reason this image is not able to be displayed, then this text will take its place. The text will just indicate to the visitor of the page that there was an image here. So this will only show up if this image is not displayed correctly or not displayed at all. That's why it's called the alt. It's an alternate text. So that's it for the document. I'm just going to click on the file option and click save all, and that should save the document. One thing I want to point out inside this image here, where I've indicated the source, because it's located inside the same project directory as this index.html file that I'm working on, you only need to specify the name of the folder and then the name of the image, just like I've done here. All right. One good thing about the brackets text editor is that it's got a live preview where you can preview your page. So I'm going to click on this live preview, and that will open up the Google Chrome. It only works with Google at the moment. So if you click on that, it will launch. You can see here it's changing color. So this is what the web page looks like here. This content here, this piece of this code here is what is been rendered here in the web browser. So you can see here where it's got my sample web page. That's this title here. So when anything inside the head content is not displayed, the only thing you can see is the title, which shows up here inside within the web browser. And then you can see here hello world is this h1 element here, and then the paragraph is this here, and then we have the image, which is this image here. And notice also the document is rendered in the way it has been displayed in the editor. So you can see we had the title first, which is this on this page here. Inside the body element, we've got the h1, which is this, the paragraph, and then the image of the puppy. So that's basically a very basic HTML document structure.